So I saw Wicked, and it was amazing. I just absolutely adored it. And so I can't put it into words, except that's kind of a lie, because I'm completely going to babble about it now for like 10 minutes. But so I adored it probably for two main reasons. The first is just this connection to the Wizard of Oz, which is pretty cool in and of itself. But then also, I identify really strongly with Elphaba and with the general themes of the story. So first, the Wizard of Oz. I grew up in Kansas, so a basic understanding and familiarity with the Wizard of Oz was kind of obligatory. But I took it a little further than most in the sense that I read almost all the books. I wish I could say I read all of them, but I've only read everything by L. Frank Baum, and a lot of the ones by his daughter. But I did stop reading the ones his daughter was doing because she just wasn't as good at it. Also, I was kind of getting older. But that's probably 50 books, at least. And so it was a huge chunk of my time as a kid was dedicated to this Oz universe. And so anything that connects to that is just kind of cool, checking in with an old friend. But the Wicked book was particularly amazing in this regard because it took this story from my childhood that was just kind of a silly, adventurous romp and really added a lot of depth to it, which just made it more interesting, more appealing to me sort of as I've gotten older, because I kind of outgrew the original ones. And the play in particular was like a great experience because it was an excellent adaptation of this really good book. I think I've whined a little bit about adaptations, and I might have gotten a reputation for not approving of adapting books into other forms, but really for me, I have no problem whatsoever with like the idea of adapting a book into something else. It's just that so often it's kind of not done very well, because things have to change when you change mediums. Just because, I mean, the whole reason we have separate movies, plays, books, all these other different forms of storytelling is because they each tell stories fundamentally in different ways. And so the play is constrained by time and by space in a way that a book just isn't. And so a lot of allowances have to be made for that. And the only time I get whiny about adaptations is when they deviate from the book in ways that are unnecessary and which make the story worse. But this one, although it had... it changed a lot of things that seemed big to me until I realized that it didn't change what the story was about, which was really the fundamental part of what needed to transfer. And so overall I would say, yeah, it changed a lot, but because it kept this essence of the story completely intact, and all the changes were made in service of conveying these important themes and ideas, I would say, great. It was just fantastic. Which kind of brings to the second reason I love it. Like, I love it because it's connected to Wizard of Oz, but I also love it for itself because of this story that it's trying to tell, which really resonated with me. And I ended up spending all of my dinner, which I'll talk about later, just thinking about it, trying to put it into words. And I actually kind of had to write things down so I could remember everything and get it all in order. So if I'm not making very good eye contact, that's why. But there were just these core ideas that spoke to me for whatever reason. And like, first is just the injustice of Elphaba's life, which is a compelling story to me. Just how undeserving she was of the title Wicked, and why. It just was an interesting thing to read. But then also it ties into this undercurrent, this general sense that caring about the world is a painful proposition, but you can't not do it. And I think that's why the story of Elphaba's life was so compelling to me, is that it's all about this idea. And it was sort of an undercurrent throughout the play. It wasn't really ever mentioned explicitly. They didn't sing any songs about it. But there was one scene that I do remember. It was just sort of a few throwaway lines. But Elphaba says to Fiyero something like, do you think I want to care this much? Do you think I don't know how much easier life would be if I didn't? But I can't change. And I feel that. And it was just great to see this feeling that I struggle with sometimes put onto stage with an excellent soundtrack. But this feeling, this intense caring that you can't do anything with is actually why I can't major in public policy, even though public policy is my favorite class right now, because I do care. I care a lot about what's going on in the world. And if I was majoring in public policy, I'd be thinking about politics, about the state of the world. I'd be thinking about it all the time. It would be in my brain just relentlessly, and I couldn't deal with caring that much constantly. It would just overwhelm me, I think. And so, because I have to be able to disengage every now and then, and just take a break. Because unlike Elphaba, I don't have magic that can just fix everything. And so it just becomes too frustrating if I let it build up. So I have to find a major, an occupation that leaves me room to take a break, eat some chocolate, watch The Daily Show, laugh at things, and not care for a little while. Because otherwise, just the futility would completely overwhelm me and would destroy me. But anyway, that's why I identify with Elphaba so strongly, is that I sense this similar caring and a bit of the frustration from her. And it's also why I like her so much, because she's able to do something about it in ways that I can't. And this is a little bit of a sad experience reading the book, seeing the play, because in the end, even she is limited. But it was still, overall, it was a great experience because it does have a happy ending. Not the happiest, but there is hope. And also, I mean, it was just so amazingly done. But just, it was great to recognize these feelings and to go away with a little bit of sadness, a little bit of frustration, but just overall, a bit of hope.